Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a little flip through for you today. I'm going to be showing you how I worked through Hints and Whispers from Bythewell4God. I do have a process video showing how I created this little journal. This is the journal that kind of housed all of the extra notes because I did most of my pages all of my pages in my Interleaved Bible, but all of my notes kind of are in here. So I'm just going to flip through this kind of quickly so you can see. I made this out of the little mini file folders. And then I just basically created pockets, and I used the stickers that came with the kit in the coordinating sticker pack that had the title starters on there. And then I just have all of my notes kind of journaled out onto flashcards and journaling cards. And between each one of the days, I sort of created pockets for additional notes. So this is day 2. This was talking about Adam. You can see I just created little pockets, in here for all my notes. I have pockets on the side sometimes, pockets behind things. So I'm not going to pull them all out because really that's all of these are the scriptures and notes that I have. But I'll just kind of let you see how I did this. So this was day 3. This was talking about the ark. And then day 4 was Abraham and Isaac. And then I just used a die cut here to create a little tuck spot for those flashcards. And then of course I have my journaling card over here on the side as well. This one had a lot of notes. This is day 5. This was talking about Joseph, and I used one of the little journaling cards and just created a tip-in with some sticker paper down here at the bottom. This was actually like the faux washi piece. I just cut it in half and used it. And then I used the paper for a pocket over here just to hold some more of the little flashcards and notes. Day 6 was talking about Moses, and I have those flashcards here and another journaling card in this pocket. And sometimes I glued this top part, and then sometimes I left it open so it was more like a tuck spot. It just kind of depended on the day. So this is day 7, talking about the Passover lamb. I have a piece of pattern paper here that I created a little spot with one of the ephemera pieces, and then again a journaling card over there on the left. Day 8 was talking about manna. I have all my flashcards this time tucked in here. This was one of the, this was like in the goodie bag that had some of the scriptures that coordinated, and I just trimmed it down so that it would fit in here, and then I used that as a tuck spot as well. Day 9 was the rock. I used one of the ephemera pieces again to create a little tuck spot, and then I have one of the journaling cards here that I have upside down, and a flashcard. These were from the devotional kit itself, and I had this verse on there, but then I also wrote out a couple other verses on the back, so that just housed a lot of notes that way. Day 10, again, one of those smaller cards. This was like a bow clip card that had one of the verses. This was talking about the bronze serpent that Moses held up in the wilderness. Day 11 was referring to the tabernacle. So I have a bunch of notes for this one. I used an ephemera piece here. I have flashcards here. I have one of those other little cards that came in the goodie bag, more flashcards, and then a journaling card as well. There was a lot on this day as well. Day 12, I used an ephemera piece. I have a clear sticker here, just kind of decorating this. This was talking about the veil and the mercy seat in the picture in the Old Testament. And then I have a journaling card there, and of course the flashcards are tucked in there. Day 13, I have my flashcards here. This is another one where I glued across the top just to kind of hold those flashcards in there. I have an ephemera piece. This was referring to David, and then another one of those journaling cards that came in the goodie bag. That was day 13. I can't remember if I said that. Day 14, the last day, I just have an ephemera piece here. I have the flashcards tucked behind there, and then a journaling card as well. And then that is just a really quick flip through, but they're all basically the same, and so this will sit on my shelf. It just has all of the extra notes that I took, but the artwork I did in my Interleaved, you can see it's getting quite chunky. I may have to retire this one. I have about 3 kits worth of devotions in here, and then I think in a few extra pages. So there are about 40 entries, a little over 40 entries in here, but it's pretty it's pretty full. It just makes it a little bit harder when it's kind of like this. And, you know, when you add a lot of chunk, that's a lot of the times why I will work in a journal, is if I really want to add a lot of dimension. It just gives me the freedom to do that without going through one of these Bibles every couple of months. So I have these marked so I can go kind of in order for the entries. I'm just going to go through them kind of quickly and talk about what I did. I will put a playlist in the description box so you can kind of check that out if you want to see sort of how I created this little book, and then any of the process videos I have for these days. This is day 1. I just used this beautiful pattern paper for my background, one of the journaling cards, and then one of the cute little slides down here. And then this was some just fun paper that I added for texture for day 1. This is day 2. Again, what you'll see a lot of mine for this month. September was a super busy month for me, so I had to keep the artwork as kind of simple. And so I really just relied on the background pages. They were so beautiful this month. And so a lot of my backgrounds for this month is just utilizing this beautiful paper. So this is for day 2, and I actually used 2 of the pieces. I don't think you can really tell, but there's a seam that runs right there because the paper wasn't quite long enough to cover this whole thing. So I just added a section, but because I added these other pieces, you can't really tell. So anyway, this is day 2. I was in Romans for this one. I do have a journaling card here with some notes on it tucked behind this beautiful ephemera piece. Day 3, this might be more difficult than I thought. Doing it this way. I'm sorry if I'm a little fumbly. Here's day 3. Day 3, I was in John, and I just used the beautiful tree stencil. This is an older Bythewell4God stencil with the mountains on it. And then I added a couple pieces of the ephemera. I actually used another, I think this one was called Cornerstone. I might be wrong about that, but that was an older Bythewell4God stencil as well. And then this ephemera piece, really simple for day 3. And then I just have on here the Way, the Truth, and the Life from John 14 over here. Day 4, I have this verse here. I have it in, this is in Titus, and I have a process video for this particular piece right here, how I kind of watercolored this, and then I just added one of the beautiful background papers there, and then I just used distressed crayons here in the background. So really simple page, just kind of keeping this called Hope's Door. This was that stamp set from previous kit, but I just thought it went really well with this devotional. That was day 4. Day 5, I am in 2 Corinthians here, and I have just a really simple background. There's some stenciling. I have some vintage ledger paper back here. I have this other page. What I did for this background is I printed off one of the digital papers, and I printed it on clear sticker paper, and then I laid it over some vintage book paper, and then I just have it on here upside down so it just kind of reads as background texture. And then here's another piece of ledger. I have some trim down here at the bottom, and then a big paper doily in the background. And that was day 5. Day 6, another really simple one. This is just one of the pattern papers. I added an ephemera piece and some of the washi here, and then another one of the papers kind of layered here in the back. This is not a full sheet of paper. I actually just trimmed this down so that I could use there was no point in layering 2 full sheets of paper in here. So I just kind of trimmed out a section. I don't know if you can tell from the background, probably not. But that way I just could save that paper and use it for other things. So this was day 6, and I just wrote faithful, and then I had some scripture written out on there that I wanted to include. Day 7 is also in John, and this is in John 1, and I actually collaged some music paper here in the background, and then I kind of muted that down with some acrylic paint. And then I added one of the pattern papers. This is a file folder. This one is one I had in my stash actually, because I used all the other ones in my book, but this is like a coffee ring one. And then I just added ephemera pieces here, and then it's got some notes tucked in that one as well. And then this is actually the title of this music paper back here, but I just thought it was really fun to include on here because it says, "Tell me the story of Jesus." And that's kind of, we're talking about the Lamb of God here on day 7. Day 8, again with the beautiful background paper. I have one of the defined, I think is what they were called, stamps that I just stamped here. And then I have Bread of Life. And then I just made a little cluster down here with some pattern paper. This is actually some book spine and some lace. And then this ephemera piece. And then this is also in John. This is chapter 6. Day 9 is, where's day 9? Back here. I do have a process video for day 9 for sure. This was that beautiful stencil. Again, I love the tree stencil so much. So I just created the background color with some distress crayons. I colored some modeling paste with some distress oxide, and then I used some watercolor over the top after it had dried just to give it a little bit more dimension. I just love how this one turned out, so I just kept it really simple. I was going to add something down here at the bottom, but I love how this kind of just tapered off, so I just left this one pretty simple for day 9. This one was in Psalms. Day 10, again, I used one of the stencils that released this month. This was like the houndstooth background. And then one of the pattern papers, this one I tore. And then on the edges of here, I put the foundry wax from Tim Holtz. And then one of the cute little slides. I love these slides. And then just a couple pieces of twine back here for some texture. And this is actually some handmade paper that had been embossed. And I added some of that foundry wax to that as well. Super simple for day 10 as well. Day 11 is back here. This is some more of that handmade paper. I added the ephemera piece. Again, you can see just the layers of pattern paper, and then I created a pocket out of this handmade paper so that I could have some notes here. I actually have some notes from the devotional day right there, just kind of tucked in, that I wanted to make sure that I had included in here versus having it in my other little book. Day 12 is another kind of layered page with some of the pattern paper. This is a dyed paper, this light blue. Then I have some music paper. This is actually a clear sticker that I put on white paper and then kind of trimmed it out. And then I just have some trim here, and then a title that says The Living Way from this reference in Hebrews. Day 13, I use those defined stamps again. I love these definitions. I think they're so fun. And I just stamped those with an oxide ink and then just kind of layered them just to create a little bit of a background here. And then I just tore off this top section and made a little cluster down here. This verse in 1 John says, "See what kind of love the Father has given us, that we should be called children of God." So I just put "what love" down here. And then there's a little part right here. This was actually just kind of happened. It was not on purpose, but this word right here says love, which I thought was really cool. And then this is another situation where I just layered a second piece right here of the pattern paper. I don't know if you can kind of tell it unless you really point it out, but that way it just was wide enough to cover this entire page. So that is day 13. And lastly, day 14, I really loved this mushroom paper, so I decided to use it again. And then I kept this page really simple. I just added some fabric down here at the bottom with some Mitzi stitching, and then one of the ephemera pieces. And then for some reason, I just felt like I needed to have refuge really bold on this page, so I just kind of hand lettered that there. This is talking about, in Hebrews, about him being our refuge. This day was called Cities of Refuge. And so this is one of my favorite verses, that, you know, we have this hope, a steadfast anchor of the soul. And so he is our refuge, and I just wanted to keep that on there. So I just kept this page really simple as well. But that pretty much wraps up Hints and Whispers for me. Again, I'll put the playlist for all of the videos that went with this devotional in the description down below. If you liked this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And until next time, bye.